Hi, I'm Kan, and I'm here with my June 2023 daily pages that I'm doing in a altered children's book. And I've already done pages days 1 through 10 for my patrons, so we'll jump in here and catch up on a few more pages. I've posted a video on preparing this book to use as a daily journal, but basically I just have gessoed over anything that I don't want to use on the pages, and I've left some of the illustrations to go ahead and use in my pages. So I'm just going back through now and adding dates. I had stuck little sticky notes in there with the dates on there so I'd know where to stick things in at. This little illustration by Pocket Journal Pam, and I'm just writing the day of the weekend, and then I'm filling in that little speech bubble that was left on the page along with some of those little animal characters. I'm including some photos here I got my Patreon sticker packs ready, and I'm just including a photograph of that and as well as the envelopes that I decorated along with some grandkids. I mailed out the Sticker Club Patreon packs on this day, so I am putting that little envelope in my book character's hand there, and I think I've been having a lot of fun making them like hold things or adapting them to what was going on in my life on that page. Continuing on, I'm just pulling out some old dates that I need to use up, like odds and ends off of old date sheets. It's been surprisingly easy to adapt what's on the page to what's going on in my life. I've kind of been a little bit surprised about that. I thought I would have to paint over more. On this particular page, though, on the left side, it has this little sleeping bunny, and that is far from what I was doing on that day. I was getting ready for workshops and was actually feeling the time crunch on these several days and a little stressed out about that. We did have some grandkids come over, so I think I want to find something to paste over that rabbit there, but otherwise, like, it's got the little erase start sign there. Seems very appropriate. On the Sunday we had some company, and so it kind of was a good, forced me to relax a little bit time, so that was nice. These images that I'm using now are by James Berg, and they seemed appropriate for, the grandkids being there. However, I had printed them on transparent sticker paper, and in this case that just didn't work because I wanted them to put them on top of that bunny. So I just stuck them to some white paper and cut it out and stuck them on. So that was my solution for that. Worked fine. This rabbit racing to the finish line was actually just before my workshop started, so that was perfect. On the day of my workshop, it was just poured down rain, so I put this little guy with an umbrella there, and then I put a picture of the group and a stamp that I'd carved that day and a few things like that. I'm using a lot of stickers and little journaling boxes to kind of fill these in. I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of writing, so I'm kind of just choosing things that kind of express the day without me having to write a whole lot about them. When I have a catch-up session like this, I tend to just bounce around among the pages because I run across something that's, oh, this would be good for that day, and just keep bouncing around getting things on their right days. And that's actually my preferred way to work. Seldom do I sit down and do a day at a time as it happens. I do try to do that in my 5-year journal, so I always have that to refer back to. But as far as my daily pages, those are almost always filled out after the fact, and that's just the reality of it. But I actually kind of enjoy working this way. I can do several pages, if I sit down for an hour, I can get quite a bit done. The pages that have the illustration in the center are just a little bit harder for me to figure out how to arrange. But if they were really a problem, I can just cover up the image or part of the image. The colors in the illustrations also work out pretty well for me. I kind of wondered if like all the green would be a problem, but there's enough other colors in there. I feel like it all ties in with the things that I would have been sticking in there anyway, so I don't feel like that's a problem. If anything, I kind of enjoy the challenge of figuring out how I can incorporate what's on the page into the page, like making my little guy with the umbrella standing on the branch, or making the bird holding the date, or them saying something or something like that. So here I'm doing a little bit of pre-prepping of pages, getting the days of the week down, but I really am not going beyond the 22nd. Some of these art supplies that I am using, like this cup with the paintbrushes, are from Illustrated Faith. They have some really nice printables that have a lot of art supplies on them, so I really enjoy using those. The little girl next to it is by Pocket Journal Pam, and I actually use that to do a little bit of journaling on her dress, like a journaling block. I also am using these stickers that are little blocks, and I use those a lot in this session because I could just, kind of like have a caption for some of the different things. Again, I didn't want to take time to do a whole lot of writing, and that just gave me a way to kind of explain the sticker or the image or whatever that I had stuck in without needing to write a whole lot. So I found those very handy. I do use those a lot, and I especially used them a lot this time. This particular pad I think is my favorite as far as just what it has. It just has shapes, and like everything is just these little blocks. By Agenda 52, I can't remember whether I got them either at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, probably when they were having a sale, I am sure. But I don't remember which store. When our grandkids were here, they ate so many popsicles, so I had to put that little popsicle sticker on there, like one of those little characters by James Burke was holding I made it holding a popsicle. I had gotten a new pottery cup at the last art fair that I went to, and so I cleaned out my whole glasses cabinet when I got home, and so I was kind of proud of that. So I put a picture of that in there, and have kind of upgraded, got rid of part of our kid cups and things like that. We didn't need as many as we had, so I have kind of like upscaled glasses cabinet. These speech and thought bubbles are, I'm pretty sure I got those at Dollar Tree. I think they were, $1.25 for that whole sheet of them, and I kind of had forgotten about them, so it was fun to pull those out and use them. They make great journaling blocks, except they are a little glossy, so you have to be careful what you use on them and to not smear it. This watercolor palette is also by Illustrated Faith, and I thought it would make a nice little journaling block as well, to just write what I needed to in the lid of it when the time comes. I'm putting a little bird perched on this book character's back just to kind of help make it all a little bit more my own. This woman is by Pocket Journal Pam, and since it's on transparent sticker paper, I am putting it on paper before I stick it in the book. I've got a little torn place on this page that I'm covering up. I pull out my Tombow markers to make some journaling lines on these pages. They don't have any lines on them like the Hobonichi, you know, the nice grid on that. These are just totally blank, so having some journaling lines is kind of helpful. I also tend to write too small if I don't have journaling lines, and again, I'm not taking the time to write a whole lot. Plus, you know, I was just mostly working and not a huge amount to write about on these days. I'm just continuing to fill in little bits here and there, little stickers as I find them, and things that kind of I can incorporate into the page, like this little hamburger my daughter and I ate out some fast food that evening, and so I stuck that on there. A little package of bread for a potluck dinner that we had, and so on. You know, I'm just finding those little bits and pieces that mean something in the day and fill up the page. I do like the look of a pretty full page, so I'm not a big white space person. I can admire the pages people do that do have white space, but I just can't seem to pull it off myself. So I tend to kind of fill up every little bit of space on a page, and I think that's part of what helps me to have these illustrations that are already on there. It kind of gives me a head start instead of just having a blank page, so that is kind of fun. I'm pulling out some more of these label stickers to just kind of fill in space and add a couple more little quick comments about the day, and that, you know, kind of finishes off the page. So now I'm flipping back to see what I still need on where I have blank places. I still have some journaling I need to fill in back on these previous pages. So I'm doing that. I also, if I use some paint will do wonders to kind of help fill in a page. So you will see me eventually just decide to kind of add some paint to make the page look full. I was a little bit concerned about how well these book pages, you know, part of it's gesso, part of it's the original book page. I did choose a book that had a little bit of tooth to it versus being a slick page, and that's really helping me out now as I add watercolor to the pages, because otherwise I'm sure I would really struggle with adding watercolor. For these earlier days, I had to go back and pull out my 5-year journal because I just really didn't remember for sure what all I did that day. So that is a big help to keep up with my 5-year journal, so that I have that to refer to when I go back and have one of these catch-up sessions in my daily pages. So I worked on making handouts for that workshop this day, as it turns out, when I look back. So I did a computer and just made note of that. I made another one of these little stickers. I've been using those right and left. At the bottom I have some washi tape that I got that was new, also from Illustrated Faith. And just adding some more paint and journaling to these pages. When I'm playing catch-up, I often work this way. I do the most recent pages first, you know, that I can still remember what I did on, and then kind of go back, work way back and catch up those earlier pages. Now I'm flipping even further back and finding some more that I haven't finished up yet. I mentioned cleaning out that cabinet and putting the new cup in there, so I'm cutting out a picture of that cup and putting it in the monkey's hand. I, again, am really enjoying that little bit of challenge of incorporating my images into the existing images on these pages. I added a little bit of highway washi tape at the bottom because that was the last day of an art show, and we headed home that evening after the show was done. I'm making use of these speech bubbles, and it's not too hard to find things to write in those, so that's been fun, and maybe even something I'll incorporate when I'm not using a children's book. I did a little bit more journaling, but then I am filling in the rest with some watercolor to just kind of make the page look more filled out, and I like that effect. So here's the pages that we got done during this session. Do like a little mini flip through here. I did these pages fairly quickly, but I think I'm pretty happy with them. I certainly are, filled out. I think will be fun to go back and look at in the future. They're bright and colorful and filled in. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.